Greetings, geeks. This is another episode of Geeking Off The Page. I'm Mike.
I'm Trevor,
I'm Troy.
and this is episode 52. For those who are keeping count.
All right, so what we're coming together to do today is try and get through all the information that was dumped to us in the geek sphere of the previous week.
I thought we were watching Cobra Kai.
Well, yes, we are
that
watching Cobra Kai. We are watching She-Hulk. There's a bunch of D23 information that was just dropped in the past 48 hours ish, and so yeah, we're just gonna start off. Let's start off with something light. Let's go to the thing
She-Hulk
that
and
Mike's.
feminist writing. Should we start
Yeah,
with that? Oh,
if you want, Mike, why don't you go ahead and start us off with She-Hulk then?
yeah. I honestly don't have that much to say about She-Hulk. I've completely tapped out, and just where the story's going, it is taking that feminist kind of comedy route, which I don't think feminist comedy is that funny. And I'm watching it for Geeking Off The Page just to be able to bounce ideas back and forth. But where the story's gone, I'm done. And it's sad because I was hoping this would be that John Byrne, Boston Legal kind of comedy, with that Deadpool vibe. And I'm not getting it. And I'm not happy. And our buddy Miguel from Sheridan, he had posted something about the hero's journey and, well, why can't it be women going on the hero's journey? There's a whole bunch of deep reasons for that. Like, we won't get too metaphysical because Troy wants to keep it light in this opening segment. But there is something about like the male archetype journey and the female archetype journey. One of the classic examples, I think, is the movie Legend. I think that has like a strong female archetype and a strong male archetype. Anyways, and the thing is, the hero's journey doesn't have to be necessarily masculine. Like, a female can go on that journey, but it is masculine archetypes through it. Anyways, that's a long way of me saying the script is kind of going off of my kind of rail of the things I'm interested in. And I'm more just watching a train wreck at this point. But that's what I thought. What did you guys think?
I have a question. Who the hell is Donnie Blaze's partner? Like, there's something about him that I was like, he seems to be the real mastermind behind this.
I thought the exact same thing. I thought there was going to be some sort of reveal at the end.
Yeah, that he was like Mephisto or something to that effect. I mean, they still can.
Yes, of course. Out of all of the friggin' Marvel MCU shows, yeah, this is the one where Mephisto shows up.
Why wouldn't he? Now this is something that came up. People are, I mean, comic book resource the on Facebook, they post this whole thing about people are losing their shit over the Soprano spoilers in this episode of She-Hulk. I'm just going to clear the air. So this, for people who don't know, the Sopranos ran from 1999 to 2007. That's like 15 years ago. If you have not watched the Sopranos by now, 15 years later, either
We can't be friends.
That's
what I thought you were going to say.
You weren't born yet. B, you were probably too young to watch it, and what's your excuse now? Or you didn't have some means to watch it back then. But if you can complain about it on the internet now, it's available streaming on several sites. So I'm going to say this: go fuck yourself. If you get bent out of shape about a spoilers that happened 15 years ago, well, guess what? Luke is Darth Vader's son.
Well, hold up a second. I know this is spoiler cast, Trev, but
I
think
will
you've
spoil
gone too
the
far.
shit out of everything, because all I say is, if you've waited 15 years and you still haven't watched The Sopranos, then you get all bent out of shape because someone mentioned in another TV show. You really need to either go climb back under your rock, or first go fuck yourself and then climb under that rock. Because
Hey, Trevor, I
your
have two
opinion doesn't
questions
matter.
for you.
Yes.
Who are you hanging out with on the internet?
Wouldn't you like to know?
And
No,
second question, do you have an instruction manual on how to do that?
I really don't think you need one. I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Just as long as you get the steps in the right order.
Yeah.
Could we do
really.
it like off the cuff where Trevor teaches us how to
it's
fuck ourselves?
It's just because the thing is I had, there was a site, someone said, they spoiled this, and I just basically said the show's 15 years old. If you're getting, if they're spoiling it now, then what the fuck you've been doing for the last 15 years that you couldn't eke together enough time to watch The Sopranos if it was that important to you? You know, if it was that important to watch The Sopranos and you haven't, and now you're, oh no, it's go take a flying fuck through a rolling donut, because your opinion does not matter to me at this point. So
I
Okay,
want
that one's.
Trevor
I'm
to do
intrigued by
this.
that one. I'm intrigued by the rolling donut here. So,
Right,
so
you
how
want
does
a
this work
tutorial
out?
on how to do that, right? I want to know how I can do
maybe
that. That
later
sounds like a lot
I'll
of fun.
post a tutorial on YouTube. There will be diagrams and some 3D animation and perhaps a actor portrayal. So yeah.
All right, try not to get
I
flagged for
can't wait
warning.
for
Yeah.
that.
So.
But
Okay,
other than
as
that,
far
I
as
mean,
the Sopranos thing, I did get a chuckle out of that. As much as I'm not a huge fan of the series, I did get a bit of a chuckle out of
yeah,
the whole
I still say
Sopranos thing.
Wong should not be Sorcerer Supreme. Wong should be the
Yes.
caretaker of Kamartaj. He's a librarian. There is no way in the hierarchy of all the mages in the world that he, from librarian, rose to the top. It's like, the principal dies, the vice principal takes over, the vice principal is removed from office, and they're like, who should we have take over the school? The librarian. It doesn't happen like that.
Right. And
yeah.
because it ruins the archetype, I've said this before, but the archetype of Doctor Strange is he comes in, he's the chosen one, and he raises his way up. Wong helps him, right? So he's instrumental in helping him. But if Wong could have done it the whole time, then Doctor Strange is irrelevant.
I mean,
because the guy who could have been Sorcerer Supreme was there the whole time.
It should have been the one-handed Japanese guy who showed, Strange that you don't need your hands to cast it. He could have been Sorcerer Supreme, but I still stand by Baron Mordo should have been stepped up as Sorcerer Supreme in the MCU when Strange got dusted. He's the most powerful magician at the time on Earth. Why wasn't he made Sorcerer Supreme? So, yeah.
Because everybody likes Wong. That's one thing that was funny in the She-Hulk, where I say, hey, Wong's in it, so we're Twitter proof this week. It was a funny line. It made me have a little bit of a chuckle, but I'm like, no, I'm going to chirp on Wong. He should not be Sorcerer Supreme. So he's not Twitter proof. Sorry.
I do like the fact that Wong now has a friend.
Yeah.
Like a best friend, like a TV buddy, which is fantastic. That woman is so good.
I like the end,
part,
at the
right?
very end, where he's watching and she's sitting on the couch next to him, naming off drinks. He's like, "Oh, and it was just the fact that she was there initially by random chance, and he sent her away, and then they met again at the courtroom, and I thought that was the end of it. But when you show up and she's sitting beside him on the couch, I was like, Wong's got a good buddy now. He's got someone to watch Sopranos with.
Yeah.
Everyone needs a watching buddy.
I do like the setup of the end of it, how it goes back to the legal drama where that's an unfortunate way to end an episode, but I guess you're gonna have to wait till the next one.
Yeah, it really sucks when you're a superhero and someone else trademarks your name so you can't use it. Like, well, that sucks.
That's like,
but again, it's not like
she's...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which is kind of a little segue to what dropped this week?
Cobra Kai.
So for those who have again been living under a rock, Cobra Kai, which is kind of like the sequel to the Karate Kid movies, is now in its 5th season. And on Friday, Netflix just kind of like walked over with a giant pile of papers, dropped them on your desk, and said, "Enjoy." And I personally so far have been. It's been fun. I like the fact that we've gone a little bit into Silver's past. And I just finally got to the episode where Kreese shows up again in prison, so I'm kind of wondering where this is going to go. We did the little trip to Mexico, where Miguel could find out who his dad really was, or really is. It's all the same.
And that was a fun part. So with the dad, because they did like a double 180 twist where the dad is this big bad guy. The mother was scared of him. He goes, meets his dad, and his dad seems like the best dad in the world.
Father of the year.
Yeah, like perfect father, helping people with a beautiful wife and a young son, and it's and that threw me for a loop because I'm thinking, wow, the dad's actually a pretty good guy. Get a couple episodes later, it's like, oh no, he's not.
Yeah,
so the way they did that double twist was amazing.
I enjoyed that too. I really did. It's nice when they do that depth of writing. I mean, they could have he shows up, dad's a scumbag, and he leaves. They could have
Yeah.
simply done that, but to do that, to kind of screw with Miguel's head, and then that makes his,
And screw with our heads.
yeah, reuniting with his mom and seeing what his mom had gone through. Now he has a better understanding. So
Yeah, and the fact that they come in, we saw this shot in the trailers where Johnny and Robbie come in with the FBI shirts on, but the fact that it's female body inspectors on the back, that's great.
And I just like the one, but I think they're with the FBI.
Yeah.
They have no jurisdiction here.
And the whole season started off very slow in a good way that we've talked about before, like with Orville and other things where you've just been through this whole big story point with the karate tournament, and all the characters are kind of settling, trying to figure out what comes next. The first episode was very slow. Like, of course, they gave us the obligatory karate scene, which they have to. It's Karate Kid. But it was slow and eased everything into it. And then from there on, the next 6 episodes, which I think, we're both basically at, just keeps ramping up and ramping up and ramping up, and the tension starts building. And you see like Silver, which is interesting because Silver in Karate Kid 3 was one of the worst sort of bad cartoon character villains that I've ever seen in my life.
It was like they had a checklist. Ooh, he's got to have a ponytail and swarmy, and I was just like, he was like the
maniacal laughter and like the evil schemes. Like, we're gonna get this kid.
I'm gonna get this teenager. Like, you run a corporation. What the hell are you worried about a goddamn teenager for?
Yeah, so the fact that they were able to turn that character into one of the greatest cinematic villains of all time. He's just maniacal enough. Like the plans are psychotic enough. It's sort of like Judge Doom wanted to make highways. It's like, it's mental. It's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. But he believes in it so strongly, and the way he outsmarted Chosen with where he invited him out to dinner. Chosen basically infiltrated Cobra Kai to be an instructor, and Silver was able to figure it out. It's like he knew he was up to something, and it just keeps building and building. The fact that he did that charity event thing to get Daniel LaRusso's wife to come and make a fool of Daniel, and it just keeps going. Again, it's completely psychotic. And then what's her name? The girl from Karate Kid 3.
Karate Kid 3, the girlfriend, the love interest in Karate Kid 3 shows up.
And the fact that she's the one to convince Daniel's wife to like understand, like, no, really, he's right. This guy's a complete psychopath. Like, this is what I went through.
Yeah.
Like, I understand why he's feeling that. And I have to just do a quick spoiler for my Kevin Smith tear moment in episode 6. But at the end, when everything comes together, there's just so much feels like it's all the characters that are behind Daniel reunite and give him like the support, the bubble, and they're ready to go after Silver. And it's like I started tearing up. It was beautiful.
Now, a friend of mine actually posted a question to me because he was kind of confused. He was like, if these guys learned, how did these guys learn karate in Korea? And so in one of the earlier episodes, when Chosen and Daniel are sitting in the car watching Silver beat up a couple of senseis through the glass in the dojo, he mentions that he recognizes the style as Tang Sang Do, which is, so if Taekwondo is primarily a kicking art, a Korean kicking art, Tang Sang Do is basically a Korean version of karate. It incorporates many elements of karate, so it's more of a 50-50 style, so 50% kicks, 50% hand techniques, but it's also meant to be a little bit more lethal. So there's a lot of like neck strikes, striking to the the eyes, the neck, the solar plexus, the groin. And it was nice in the way that, because if you step out of Karate Kid and Cobra Kai, in real life, after the Korean War, when American servicemen were stationed in Korea, quite a few of them learned martial arts. Some learned Taekwondo, and some learned Tang Sen Do because they had decided to teach American servicemen a martial art. Some of the notable practitioners, biggest one, Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris, his first martial art was Tang Sendo. Eventually, later, he learned Taekwondo, but that was the art that he used. So when he came back to the U.S. and started competing in world heavyweight karate, he could participate because he was using a form of karate. He just effectively kicked everyone's ass. So yeah, he's like one of the big proponents of that style. He's incensed. Since then, he has created his own style based off of Tang Sendo. So it was nice for them to include that in Cobra Kai as an explanation of, well, if they were in Korea, they should have been learning Taekwondo. Why is he suddenly running a karate dojo? So that's where it
How
comes.
cool would it be if Chuck Norris showed up in this series?
It would, but I mean, he's getting a little on in age.
Just
So
It's
show
not like
up
he
for something.
actually has to get into a fight or anything like that. I mean,
Yeah.
he just show up. I mean, it's
He
not
could just
like
be the
they
mayor
show
of
up
the
and
town
everyone
or
just
something.
passes out from his awesomeness.
That'd be amazing.
People die of like unrelated roundhouse kick deaths. These things happen. Or if a fist comes out of his beard and punches somebody, just so yeah. But yeah, that was a nice. I mean, to me, that shows that the writers they're thinking ahead.
Yeah.
Also, the bad boy villain from Karate Kid 3, Mike Barnes, shows up, which was a nice surprise. I'm enjoying so far. I'm halfway through episode 6. I haven't reached the feel good moment you mentioned, Mike, but I'm getting there.
Now, okay, Mike Barnes. Let's talk about that real quick.
Okay.
Do you think he's innocent and all that? They had a little bit of like Easter egg kind of spoiler things where he might be in on it.
Yeah, well, the way they set it up, it sounds like he's doing this whole shady deal. He's going to be cutting the legs off of thing. Then you find out he's in the furniture business.
Yeah,
he's refinishing
put the whole
furniture.
karate thing behind him.
Yeah, he put it all behind him, and then this is where we get some of the more connections to Silver for LaRusso to go through, and yeah. So
But then they set up the fact that the place burned down. They think Silver did it. Mike Barnes wasn't there when it happened, so it could be an insurance scam, and he's ready to join the dojo. There's enough questions where you don't know at this point where that's gonna go. Like, is he an innocent guy who got attacked by Silver, or is this like a shady side deal, to join the franchise?
Could be. I mean, look at the whole thing with Stingray, where the guy he beat up, and then they pinned it on Kreese to send him to jail. He's living in a lavish apartment. He's got the fancy car. He's been welcomed to the dojo with
Johnny's old car.
Yeah, Johnny's old car. So yeah, so Stingray is reaping the benefits. I think something's going to bite him in the ass for that, or he's going to turn on Silver in some way. I'll have to wait and see. I'm basically when this podcast finishes, if it's not too late, I'm going to try to finish off episode 6, or tomorrow after all the family stuff, I'm going to try to binge my way through and finish it off.
Yeah, it's that good. It's like I'm here up north, this beautiful cottage weekend, and I just have to squeak in some episodes. It's just so good. And the moment where Johnny and Chosen go into Cobra Kai, that's in the trailer, and that did not disappoint. So Silver brings in all the karate instructors from, I guess, Korea, and they're all badass. So Chosen basically took down 6 karate instructors from the valley, no problem. But the fact that him and Johnny had to team up to take this one guy down.
I will say, when they arrive on the jet, and there was 6 of them standing there, and then the lady walks down. Of course, one of them had to have a fucking eye patch. It was just like, again, someone was like,
excellent.
Evil senseis. All have to have dark hair slicked back in some fashion.
Yeah, all right.
Dark suits, army boots of some kind. One of them needs an eye patch of some sort. Facial hair and eye patches, all around. We got to make them all look evil. It's like evil archetype, facial hair. Ooh, he can have an eye patch. So it was just like,
I thought it was great. Again, it's that sort of cheesy Karate Kid vibe.
Yeah, it was right out of like
it worked.
80s canon film.
Yes.
It's like,
oh, so good. But when they got into the fight and did the battle, it was so great to see essentially the villain from Karate Kid 1 and the villain from Karate Kid 2 joining forces to take down the enemies of Karate Kid 3. It's just great. Such good writing. And again, it's one of those things where it's not often where you get a franchise where the next generation or the next story or where it expands to is as good or better than the original. And this one, they keep up in the game. They're keeping it solid. Seems like Netflix is kind of staying hands off. They're not, as far as I can tell, interfering and twisting things. It's just, no, it's a great story. Everybody loves it. It's like, yeah, keep it coming. So 5 seasons in, still good.
I'm going to say on a quick side note of successor seasons being as good as the original show, I don't have high hopes for the new Quantum Leap. I really don't. I just watched the trailer for it, and I'm watching it, and I'm like,
yeah, I know. Well, see, what I'm hoping to God that isn't the opening of the first episode.
Yeah,
because if it is, I'm like, oh, really? Come on. The original worked it in so beautifully. Like,
yeah,
it took us 2.5 hours to find you. I'm like, okay, let's hope this is like we're already in progress. It's not like the first leap. This is like the third or fourth leap, and it's been like 2 hours, and she has to keep reminding him that, okay, you are the leaper. I am your assistant. I do like the element of the whole entire showing everyone back in the Quantum Leap like offices and all that sort of thing, where we get to see Ernie Hudson and all that going. But wow, that quickly segue quickly from Cobra Kai. But so Cobra Kai, we've got how many episodes in this particular season?
10 in season 5.
So it's been 10 all along, except for season 1, which was, I don't think season 1 was 10, was it?
I don't think it was.
No, okay, but it's been 10 ever since. And
yeah, so, they've been doing really good about doing 10 each time.
Good. All right, excellent. All right. I mean, you guys done with the whole entire? I know we suddenly derailed there for a second when we started talking Quantum Leap. I'm like, oh, Quantum Leap. That's my subject.
I only mentioned it because I saw the trailer earlier this morning, and I
did too. Oh. Yeah. I mean,
it's like one of those moments when your whole body just kind of wants to reject everything it's seen, and like your skeleton wants to shoot out of your mouth and like flee down the street. So
I mean, I'm a huge fan of the original series, and I've just been rewatching season 1 and all that, and it's a huge difference between the look of that original series and what we're seeing here. Obviously, technology and whatnot that is advanced in the amount, like this 20 some odd years between the two. I do like the fact that it is in the here and now, whereas the original series, again 20 years ago, basically took place in 1999 when it was the 80s sort of thing. So it's kind of neat, but it seems, I mean, I'm gonna watch it no matter what. I'll watch every single episode that's out there because hey, I like the time travel stuff too. But
I'm gonna try to catch a couple.
Yeah, but
yeah. If it's anything like what the trailer just showed me, I'm gonna be like remote in hand, like nope.
Yeah, well, they've been giving these little like little 5-second little clip videos and all that, and it's him in the different people. Now, hopefully, a lot of them are just promo. It just happened to be, oh, he's going into the Gulf War, and this one soldier as they jump out of a plane and all that sort of thing. And it's only like a couple of seconds. We don't have a catchphrase yet from him yet. Hopefully he does not use "oh boy," because that's just a little too close. But I'm also, because apparently it's supposed to be a continuation of the original series.
It's the same facility.
But it's the same program that's just been brought out of mothballs sort of thing, it seems like. But hey, you'd never know. And again, only got until the 19th of September to wait. And then, like I said, I'll watch it. I'll talk about it. I'll give my unbiased, because, hey, bad time travel is bad time travel. You need an interesting story, especially if you're going to do a Quantum Leap, because you've got a lot to live up to. Because Scott Bakula, fantastic. I mean, I even knew about Scott Bakula before Quantum Leap and all that, but he made that show. Him and Dean Stockwell were a fantastic couple, and the fact that this couple seems to be an actual couple, that's a little bit of a but still. But I am looking forward to it because it's taken a while, and it looks like they've gotten all their T's dotted and their I's crossed to get this series up to where it is supposed to be something that people are going to enjoy. And look, Nowadays, you can't spend a lot of money on a network television series that's going to fail, because if you throw as much into it and you have a tiny audience, you're going to lose more money than whatnot. So especially when it comes, like, if it were something on, like, on Netflix or something, they could throw whatever money at it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But just exactly. But when you're relying on an actual physical audience to sit down and watch your show, you want to make sure that you're putting the best thing out there, because you have so much more to compete with. And that's what's sort of making television a more interesting genre to be. And that's why we're getting shows like The Orville season 3, because of the fact that it's got the competition, but it has the money behind it, and they have the ability to pull in the resources to make it a series that is enjoyable. And again,
I'm glad you said Orville and not She-Hulk.
no, because see, that's the thing. Anything on Disney Plus is a completely different animal, especially because it's that MCU. No matter what, they're going to make MCU stuff.
Yeah.
And they know at this point, MCU is either going to hit or miss. They're still going to make it. If something misses on MCU, wait 2 months, something else you're going to like, or you'll find some element that you're going to like and all that.
Yeah.
But when you're talking like something like I said, the Orville, or like Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, again, fantastic. And it took quite a bit of like discovery, not so good, but it's interesting if you stay with it for a while. The Picard series, hit and miss sort of thing and all that. But
Riker and
Strange
Hugh
New Worlds
were awesome.
But if you notice, all of those are happening on streaming services.
Exactly.
I think the problem is with broadcast TV is they're realizing that the streaming services are beating them left and right.
Yes.
Because the streaming services, can put more money in.
Mm-hmm.
They have their own, they can either do a week by week or dump all the episodes at once. And they're pulling in larger, big name actors for both their series and their movies. Whereas broadcast TV, everything is on the advertising dollar. They have to throw their commercials in like every couple of minutes.
Yeah.
And I think right now a lot of broadcast TV stations, they're like NBC, CBS, ABC, are like, we need shows that are going to get people to want to watch broadcast TV, and not, I'll just use my smart TV and stream it, or go to my computer and stream it, or pull up my phone and stream it. And I think right now, unless they pull a miracle out of their asses, we're probably going to see the death knell of broadcast TV, at least interesting content in the next 5 years. Everything's going to be on streaming.
Yeah. I think it's going to be things like, live news and sports.
Because there's
what broadcast TV is going to be.
Yeah, I mean,
because I think you have to tune in for.
Yeah, NBC has an exclusive contract for the Olympics that goes on like well into the 2040s. That and live broadcast news, that's pretty much their bread and butter, because even shows like Law and Order and stuff like that, they're reaching the end of their longevity. People are watching the reruns, but now you can get the reruns on streaming services. And most of the broadcast TV stations are now launching their own streaming services.
Yeah.
So it's going to get to a point where they're like, why the hell are we making content for broadcast TV when less and less people are, more and more people are cutting the cable and just going to streaming?
It's interesting how that shift happened, because obviously when we were kids, if you wanted to watch something, you had to be there on Thursday night, 9 o'clock.
Exactly.
And there's the commercial breaks where you'd run and get a snack, run to the bathroom, you had to get back in time, or else you didn't see it. And that's gone. My kids don't understand that lifestyle anymore.
So what I tell, like in Taekwondo, when I'm talking to the students, I'm like, to get used to stances. Instead of just sitting there watching your favorite TV show, during the commercial break, get into like a front stance or get into a horse riding stance, stand there for the whole commercial break. Or if you have to, halfway through, switch legs. Get yourself.
And how many watch commercials? Probably just on YouTube, right?
And that was just it. A lot of them were like, well, most of the shows I watch are streaming. They don't have commercials. I'm like, well, shit. Because I said, when I was a kid, I would stand in the stances during the commercials. And when I got eventually to the point where it didn't hurt, I would stand in the stance during the show and relax during the commercial. And that's how I built up my stamina to be able to hit these stances and hold them without.
That's an interesting premise, Trevor.
Yeah. But nowadays with a lot of streaming, on streaming, there are no commercials, maybe Hulu.
Yeah.
And it's that sort of thing is going the way of the dodo. So it's like, then trying to come up with a different training method that kids can use, because it's
Well, it would be the equivalent is when you're watching YouTube, the 30-second advertisement before it.
unless you have an ad
Doing it.
blocker, then you don't even have those.
Yeah, most kids don't have that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's as I said, I'm seeing, I mean, we're seeing in essence in the last 10 years, as the streaming services get better and better, they get more money into their projects, and they're getting better quality of projects. We're seeing broadcast TV is scrambling more and more. I look at it as Netflix and Blockbuster. You know, cable TV is like Blockbuster right now. And Netflix, you know, just it's a streaming service, and the broadcast TV are trying to maybe do a little bit of we'll do some streaming too, but I think it's too little too late. They're
Unless they come up with something that's so good that people want to tune in for.
exactly.
And even then, it's getting to the point where there's so many different services.
Yeah,
You know, because one nice thing
exactly.
about like something like Netflix was back in the day, it was like $9 a month or something. It
Mhm.
was easy, like it was cheap, it was easy. You have all these variety things. It's better than spending $100 on cable.
Yeah.
But now
Well,
it's getting to the point where there's so many different services. If you get them all, you're spending $100
You're
again.
spending
yeah, well,
100.
I just actually looked at
easily.
a cost analysis. If you get the major ones, like, you know, the Disney bundle, which gives you ESPN and Hulu, and that's just it. They're now getting streaming bundles where you can sign up for, you sign up for one and you get like 3 or 4 all at once. So like Amazon, you can get like Paramount for at a discount cost through Amazon, and you know, like Stars and other ones. And I just saw a cost analysis of, if you go cut the cable entirely and go pure streaming, you can save, and you know, you can still get your local news through your local news websites. They will broadcast it simulcast the same time it's on TV. It's there. So you're not really missing any local content, but you're paying, like, you know, anywhere between $50 and $100 less a month. Where's the lure then of having TV, like broadcast TV?
Yeah, exactly.
And so, as a final thought, so cable service, like internet providers and stuff like that, usually they'll have bundles like your phone, internet, and cable all in one. And usually it's cheaper if you have all three. I just actually got a flyer from some of our local providers stating that, with the advent of more and more streaming services, if you want just internet or just internet and phone and you don't want cable, they will make you a special deal. So you get almost like the effect of having all three, but you know, the deal's now sliced in three and you can just take 2/3 of it. So they're starting to see the writing on the wall as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And we were talking about Quantum Leap. It got a little sidetracked, but Quantum Leap was a show that I was a huge fan of back as a kid, and I hadn't seen this trailer until you guys were talking about it. So in the background, I was just watching it, and I agree that the vibe doesn't quite feel the same. And that's something with any sort of franchise or property or story. Like there's a certain palette that you want to keep the same. We've talked about that with Star Wars, where it's the kit bashing and the models and the practical effects, and it gives it a certain feel, like that film grain and that texture. And Quantum Leap had that sort of vibe. Like there was a certain look that it had. It was that very 80s style television, bright colors, and like looking at the trailer with that dark, gritty, almost like Matrix vibe with the darkness that it has.
Yeah.
And it didn't give me the feels that the original series had.
Well, even the way they present the content, Quantum Leap was the accidental hero.
Yeah.
He just wanted
for
to
sure. Yeah.
leaping in the past, and then when he was stuck there, realized, well, I got to do something while I'm here. I see, injustice. I have the ability to affect it, and right what was wrong.
Yeah.
This doesn't give that same sort of vibe that they're going.
No, for sure, yeah.
Going back, and then the experiment went awry, and then while he's stuck there, he's going to do what he can with what he's given. This is more like, we're going to go back and make some changes, and it's
yeah, with the hologram, because I didn't catch her name and all that. Her pointing out the fact, no, you have to. This is what you have to do. You have to go change things that once went wrong. I'm like, no, that's not how it's supposed to work.
That's how it's supposed to go. That they found that by
which I'm hoping. Which again, Yeah, which I'm hoping again that this first episode is like, hey, we've been at this for like several months already, and every single time you lose your memory, so we have to reboot this whole entire thing. This isn't his very first leap.
Yeah.
I mean, so I just quickly looked it up, and it's March 25th, 1989 is when Quantum Leap originally premiered, and it went to May 5th, 1993. So yeah, so hopefully, I mean, again, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Again, it's if you're gonna trot out a old classic, you know what? I mean, it more than likely doesn't work. Which is also
Unless it's Cobra Kai.
Where's Airwolf? Damn it!
Exactly. Well, see, that's the
There
thing.
we go.
But do you know what the other one that's coming out?
No.
Yes, that's right. Night Court. John Larroquette is returning as Dan Fielding, and it is going to be Harry Stone's daughter in the judge's position and all that. So yeah. So
that show ended on a great note. And why ruin it?
Exactly.
All
exactly.
Right. So
yeah.
If they do it well, that's the thing with story. If you do it well, you can get away with stuff. Like the fact again, Cobra Kai,
do you think
Silver.
They're gonna do it well?
I don't think they will.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so either. But if they did, it could be amazing. I did not think that Cobra Kai would be as good as it is. Like how many times have they tried to do sequels and spin-offs and relaunches of Karate Kid?
Legacy sequels rarely work out.
Yeah, which is why when they're done well, it's so good.
I think if Cobra Kai had been pitched directly to a streaming service or even to a network TV, they would have screwed up. The fact that this started as a small series on YouTube Red, I think is what they realized they needed the writing. That was the only way this was going to work, was the writing had to be key. And so by the time they got to the second season and they were still on YouTube, but it was generating a lot of momentum. And then when Netflix took it over, they didn't ruin it because they realized, well, let them do what they're doing because obviously it works.
Yeah.
And again, that's why it feels like they're really using the story is more important than the karate, or it's, and they introduce characters from the movies and bring in that nostalgia, but they do it in a thoughtful manner.
You can tell that they love the original. That shows
exactly. Yes.
They know what made the original great. And that was one thing that about Lion King when they were doing that animated movie, is that Lion King, nobody was paying attention to it because Pocahontas was the one that was going to be the big blockbuster. So all eyes were on that. Nobody was looking at Lion King, so they got to do their thing, and the creators got to create this masterpiece, which ended up being one of the greatest animated Disney things of all time, because nobody was meddling. But then you look at Pocahontas, and I remember back in Sheridan where the director came by and he showed it to us all on the screen. It's like, oh wow, we're gonna get to go see Pocahontas. This is gonna be great. I was like, oh, this kind of sucks. And the director's standing right there. It's like, oh, I kind of feel bad for you. And I almost want to just kind of slink away.
I remember that, just like, and you're proud of this?
Dude, no, was this an actual like viewing of the complete movie?
No, it was just it wasn't the whole movie. It was like short little bits that they had.
I thought it was the full movie.
No, I just remember they showed us like a couple of long sequences. One of the songs, there was like a bit of an animatic because it hadn't been completed yet, and they were like so thrilled with it. And I just remember watching it and just like, I wouldn't be cheering. I wouldn't be like waving this around going, hey, look what I did, Mom, because she would not put this on the fridge.
Oh, I wanted to slink away, find some popcorn, and run away into a gutter somewhere. Like it was
It was
good.
Which is why when Lion King came out, I was like, "Woo, this is the movie we should have been watching."
Yes. Yeah, because like Lion King was so good, and you hear that because that wasn't the one that the executives were paying attention to.
Yeah,
they got to actually create the movie that they wanted. It was
the B team working on Lion King.
Yeah, so when I look at Cobra Kai, it's the same kind of thing. Like it's just this like renegade unit on YouTube doing this thing that they love. Yeah, and everybody responded to it. And the fact that it's in season 5 now and everybody's still loving it and Netflix isn't ruining it, it's still good. Again, 6 episodes in, I'm thrilled.
So this week, for anyone who wasn't aware, so Disney has this little thing they do where they kind of like give a big, it's like a Disney celebration, and they're like, hey, by the way, this is the stuff we have that's coming up. And they call it D23. Troy, take it away.
Alrighty then. And so, just to give you a little, you future historians, a little bit of information, we're recording this on September 10th of 2022. So that's the year that the D23 information that's coming to us and all that. And there's still one more day of D23. A lot of stuff is going to come to us. There's probably stuff going on right now that we just don't have the update on because we're not currently at D23. And not there. We're just relying on the information that's been put out
Also,
into the ether.
I'm going to say it's late at night. They're probably gearing up for tomorrow.
Exactly, probably. So a lot of stuff that I'm about to talk about, there's, if you go to our Facebook group, Planet Geek Productions, I've posted quite a bit of the actual trailers, which are links from YouTube. You can go to YouTube and just pretty much punch in almost any single thing that I've talked about in the next little while, and you can watch the trailer or whatnot, and we'll just take it from there. Now, we're going to start off with a bunch of video game stuff that is kind of unusual because in the past, Disney has really not done a lot of video game stuff. They usually do not care for it very much because they don't have a lot of backing in them. But now the fact that Disney now owns Marvel and Star Wars, or at the very most, Lucasfilm, there is a lot of video game stuff involved with those franchises. So it looks like Disney is getting back into the video game genre. So
I guess they own LucasArts, right?
Yeah, they're closing LucasArts.
Yeah, LucasArts. Yeah. So one of the first things is a Disney property, and while there's not much known about these games and all that, I'm just a quick little description of what's going on. And this one is Tron Identity, and so it's basically touted as a visual novel / puzzle game, where the player follows a character named Query, who's a detective program in an all-new grid. So this is an all-new environment created for this game and all that. It's basically the teaser trailer is just an identity disc lighting up. That's all there is in this. So there's no whether or not they actually showed images at the actual D23. None of those have leaked out and all that, but that's what this teaser trailer is. It's like 15 seconds long, and it's got a Tron Legacy-esque sounding soundtrack to it. So because those guys are no longer together, so we're not going to get their music anymore. But and it mentions that it's going to be available in 2023 sometime. But again, video games, you never know. However far you're on development, you might not see it till 2024 or something like that. One of the other ones that was released is an untitled game from the Marvel Universe, and it's from Marvel and Skydance New Media. And it is a storyline where both Black Panther and Captain America team up in the Marvel Universe's version of World War II, where Hydra is involved. Now, the fact that the actual thing doesn't have a title yet, and you just know about 4 characters that you either play through as, and one is a soldier and one is I believe it's detective, I think, also. But you played one of 4 characters through a Marvel Universe version of World War II. And again, like I said, where Hydra is in. Again, the trailer is just a bunch of like background information and all the background images and all that sort of thing as it goes through, shows you all the environment and the alterations, and then, oh look, there's a Hydra sort of Nazi-esque hat sitting there on this thing and all that, and then you see the silhouettes of the 4 characters that you play, and that's it. Doesn't even give you a name, and it doesn't even actually give you a date of when it's coming out. So the next one is an interesting sort of thing. So everyone knows what Pokemon Go is, right? It's Niantic is this AR game. If you don't know what it is, you go around your actual environment where you currently are, and you go around and you capture Pokemon. Well, Niantic is also making Marvel Worlds of Heroes, which is an AR experience, and starting sometime in 2023, which is what they have geared up with. And it's a AR experience. You walk around, you get to create your own superhero and then battle like enemies that appear with you. You team up with other people that are walking around in your environment and use your different things. So in the trailer, it's all outside of the actual form of reality. They show people like one girl is holding onto a Thor's hammer, and one guy uses like
I'm going to say
Doctor Strange's.
this is showing kids outside, so already the
exactly.
trailer was unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, no, because you remember way back when Pokemon Go started 10 what?
Yeah, but it wasn't little kids running around. It was a bunch of like adults.
Yeah, it was a bunch of adults, yeah, and all that sort of thing. And again, you're gonna have the exact same thing. You basically have to walk around. You have to make all these experiences to grow your character, to give them powers and all that sort of thing. So while there is no actual solid release date, you can actually go to pre-register on the website right now and just get information for wherever it's going to be coming out. And that's again Marvel's World of Heroes. So, and then lastly is one of probably the most enjoyable things that has come out of the Star Wars Skywalker Saga, which is the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga video game. While the current version is currently out now, I believe Gavin has talked about this in the past and all that, and how he's really enjoyed it and whatnot. But on November 1st, they are, as Trevor is displaying. Trevor, say something so your screen shows up.
Oh, so I am. This is the box set for the Vader. As you see, it's head.
Ooh, and it
as
reveals.
The box,
that's kind of neat, actually.
Show Vader underneath. So yeah, so I haven't played this game so far. It's awesome.
Yeah. So on November 1st, they are releasing a new Galactic Edition, and this version is going to have an additional 30 characters available to it, including characters that have appeared in both the upcoming Andor series and the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. So they're all being thrown into this whole entire pot. And like I said, an additional 30 characters. It's going to be available on pretty much every single console as well as PC.
Are they going to have the Boba Fett scooter kids? You know, the spy kids.
They didn't go. They did not go into. Speaking of which, have you seen that person that has de-res the actual scooters? They've like dirtied them up and turned them into what they should look like.
I haven't not seen that. I want.
Oh my god! I wish I. Okay, I'll try and drop the images into this right now. But someone has gone in and they have basically de-shined the actual swoops. I mean, they still.
I'm gonna get some audio as
but...
you put the overlays. Oh my god, those images look so amazing. How come they didn't do that in the actual show?
All right, so
it just goes to show that, you know, if you put up some crappy you know, visuals to your show, the internet will come along and fix it for you, or show you where you went wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely show you where you went wrong. Yeah, you fucked up. Here's how it should have looked. Yeah. But again, it looks really cool. I mean, again, it's not the shiny like
9,000 mirrors.
Yeah, exactly. But so moving on from that, we now move into the offerings that Disney is releasing and all that.
Whoa! Hit the brakes. Pump the brakes.
Okay,
you missed one video game.
What video game did I miss?
Return to Monkey Island. Holy shit! How did you not say Return to Monkey Island?
I did not see Return to Monkey Island. No, wait. That was announced quite a while. No. Return to Monkey Island was released quite a while ago. Actually,
but it got a new trailer.
I apologize.
Talk Like a Pirate Day on September 19th.
All right, Trevor, you take over then. Tell us.
I'm just saying, Return to Monkey Island is coming out September 19th, which, for those who know, is International Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Yep. No.
I love all the Monkey Island games. It's some of the snappiest, well-written games that I would waste hours on, just going through every conceivable iteration to get all the dialogue, all the crazy little antics, all the, you know, you tried to, you know, take the skull and put it in the key, and Guybrush Threepwood would try to push the skull into the keyhole, and the skull would turn and go, "What do you think you're doing? Do I look like a key?" Just stuff like that would make the game was so fun to play. And then when they announced that LucasArts was folding, I was like, "You sons of bitches! We need more Monkey Island games." And now they finally have one coming, so I'm happy.
Yeah, exactly.
I never played that ever.
So they were point and clicks. They were fantastic point and clicks. The art the animation, fantastic, especially for when they were made too. I mean, they were just
I'm seeing the date here, 1990.
Yeah,
sounds about right. Yeah,
yeah, that's when they first
yeah.
started coming. I mean, the
Yeah.
fact that the character was named after an Adobe Photoshop brush that some guy had on. He was like, he had the guy brush. And they were like, what's this guy character's name? And they're like, Guy Brush. And I can't remember where Threepwood came in. I think it was like a little bit of 3PO in there, but it's still hilarious characters, amazing dialogue, and yeah,
fantastic art.
Back in the early days of the LucasArts pixel art adventures, like I mean, my personal favorite has always been Full Throttle.
Full Throttle, yes, I was just about to say that. Yes,
and they've done a spiritual sequel on Xbox. It was crap. They shouldn't have even touched that franchise. But anyways, when it was announced that Monkey Island was coming back, I had fingers crossed that they were actually going to do it and not fuck it up. And it looks like they've actually done it. So yeah, that was my big video game takeaway from D23.
There you go. Okay, so I apologize for skipping over that. I don't remember seeing something like that, but again, I probably would not have mentioned it because I didn't.
Well, this is why we have Trevor as a co-pilot.
Exactly,
he takes care of these things.
Exactly. All right, so now we're going to move on to live action. Well, I guess Disney movies that are coming out, both theatrically and on Disney Plus. To begin with, we got a teaser trailer, which is again what it is. It's, you don't see much of the plot, you don't see anything. It shows off a lot of really cool environments and brief glimpses of the characters, and that's for The Little Mermaid. Now, again, only watching this on your computer screen or your phone or whatever you're doing. I mean, you're not watching us on the giant screen because you know, but it looks stunning. The underwater shots is a lot of cameras going through underwater environments and all that, which looks kind of cool. And we get a couple of brief glimpses of Ariel's tail as it goes by, which again looks fantastic. And then it finishes off with the closing lines sung by Haley Bailey, who's playing Ariel in this. Singing off the final lines of Part of Your World and all that, and that's it. There's nothing much more to it and all that. Of course, everyone's going to go crazy on the internet because it is not a vibrant redheaded white girl singing, portraying this character and all that. And it's already.
I'm glad you said that because I don't have to.
Yeah,
I will say, Disney's trend of taking some of their best of their animated films and doing live action adaptations, please fucking stop.
Yeah,
it's not necessary. If you want your kids to, this is the Little Mermaid, show them the original fucking Little Mermaid. You know, they don't have to see some live action garbage. Like, I'm sorry, I mean, the Lion King, the Jungle Book, all of them so far, there might be a little bit of technical wizardry here and there, but for the most part, unfucking necessary. Absolutely unnecessary.
I will admit that I actually kind of enjoyed Aladdin. Also, I think because of the fact that it was someone that you wouldn't expect to do Aladdin, that's Guy Ritchie. Guy Ritchie directed the Disney Aladdin. So I think there was a little bit of an extra little thing to it that made it, I mean, it didn't need to be done. But
I kind of enjoyed Jungle Book. I will say I did sort of enjoy Jungle Book.
But the thing is,
and part of that was seeing it in India and the fact that everything seemed authentic, you know, with the characters.
Really?
And
but the thing
else.
is, was it necessary? Honestly, if you wanted to introduce your kids to the Jungle Book,
it was 100% not necessary.
Yeah, like, and the thing is, I mean, like Beauty and the Beast did not need a live action redux.
No,
like, stop taking the best of the best animated films. Going, let's make it live action now, or all CG animal. Like, if you want to introduce your kids to these movies, then have them watch the movies. Don't live action bullshit this shit up and go, it's a whole new movie. No, it's not. It's a pathetic retread. That's my opinion.
You know what? Re-release your old movies.
Yeah, exactly. You
put those back in the theater and all that.
I will happily take my kids to go see Little Mermaid or Lion King or Aladdin or Hercules or any of those. If you put it in the theater even for a week, I'll take my kids to go see it so they can see it on the big screen like I saw it.
Exactly.
You don't need some live action garbage.
No. That costs way too much for way too little of a box office return. I mean, there's I mean, I think The Lion King made some money, but it, compared to what it turned out to be, I don't think it was really worth it. I mean, your Mulan, unfortunately, had a circumstance of, you know, the whole entire epidemic that hit us a couple of years ago and all that sort of thing, because it ended up going directly to Disney, but Disney Plus. But yeah, so I
So
mean,
just so people know, the original Lion King was made for a budget of 45 million and made 968 million in the box office. The 2019 Redux, they're saying it cost 260 million. They're saying its current box office is 1.36 billion, but that's with everything. That's not just box office. That's everything kind of thrown in.
yeah.
It again, unfucking necessary. Because now the thing is you say Lion King, people go like, oh, the one in 2019, and you're like, no, they're not that fucking one. Ugh. Let me go find this medical grade 2x4 and tune you up a little bit.
Medical grade. Oh, that's nice of you. Medical grade. All right. So moving on, we have a sequel coming out. We have the movie Inside Out is getting a sequel, which apparently picks up when the main character of Riley is a teenager and likely dealing with the messy complications and emotions that come with adolescence.
But they kind of did that at the end when they're like, look, they have the whole like, look at all the swears. Yeah. That's probably going to be fine.
Exactly. So apparently the original emotions and the voice actors are returning. Plus we're being introduced to a couple more new emotions and all that. And that's due out summer of 2024. So there's not much other than just an announcement. There's no teaser trailer or anything like that.
Hi, we're Pixar. Disney bought us. We're just cranking out sequels.
Exactly. Now the next of the newest animated feature to come from Disney is a movie called Wish, which is going to be in their new computer/watercolor style animation. And it's a movie that dives into the origins of one of the most iconic characters in the lexicon of Disney, and that's the magical wishing star. Well, sort of. And that's due out in November 2023.
And Alan Tudyk will be a goat named Valentino.
Yep, exactly. And that was Alan Tudyk again reprises his role as a tertiary animal character.
Honestly, he's like the John Ratzenberger.
Oh, he is totally, yeah. Yeah.
If Disney makes an animated film, you know Alan Tudyk's going to be part of it in some fashion. And it doesn't matter if he has to be the rooster; he'll be there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So coming to Disney Plus this year, we have a couple of sequels. Technically, these are definitely legacy sequels because one takes place 15 years after the original, and the next one takes place 29 years after the original. Well, I guess a little reverse because the first one due out September 30th is Hocus Pocus 2. And that's the one that's the 29 years difference and all that. And then again, the Sandra sisters return. It's a whole entire new cast other than the Sandra sisters and all that. It's a direct to Disney Plus sequel. It actually looks kind of nice because again, it's the original Hocus Pocus was a sleeper hit. It has culminated years and years of followings of generations and all that. And now we've got finally a sequel.
Because
exactly, yes. You got the Jack. Yeah. But it's a fun movie to watch, right? You enjoy it, don't you?
It's played every other day during the month of October.
There you go.
Disney, so
yeah. I mean
every
exactly
other day.
Yes. It's fantastic that, I mean, obviously 29 years later, your original characters do not look the way the actresses do not look the same way, obviously, but from what you see in this trailer, the three of them look fantastic. I mean, yeah. So, I mean, and again, I'm looking forward to it because I'm a fan of the original, and this one looks just as fun. Might be a little more creepier, or might be a little more grown up than the original one was, because you know what, kids 30 years later are a little different, so you shoot for a little more adult for the kids and all that. Now, the other one that I was surprised to see is coming out is the legacy sequel of Enchanted called Disenchanted, and it is the original cast coming back. Except for Susan Sarandon does not return in this movie and all that. They have another new bad guy and all that in this one, but played by Maya Angelou, I want to say, from Saturday Night Live.
No, Maya Rudolph.
No, Rudolph. Shoot, yeah.
Maya Angelou is a poet.
Yes, I don't know why that name came out the way it did, but again, it looks like it has the same feel of the original Enchanted, which was a fantastic movie. It was, again, a surprise movie to see this fantastic thing. And I hope, again, it starts off with that hand-drawn animation opening sequence that starts off the movie and ends the movie and all that. But again, it looks like it's going to be another one. And that's being released on November 24th. So the North American Thanksgiving, I believe, is what it is. Yes. At least close to that. Yeah.
They also, just jumping in here, so for live action, they're doing Peter Pan and Wendy, which they haven't given a tremendous amount of details other than that Jude Law is going to be Captain Hook.
Captain Hook, yeah.
We don't know if this is going to be a direct sequel to Peter Pan,
or a whole new story,
or just a retelling of Peter Pan, like, you know, kind of Hook or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to say, so back in my post-Sheridan days, or right at around the end of my post-Sheridan days, Disney Canada did Peter and Wendy, or Peter Pan 2. I mean, it went through so many different title changes, and it was the movie that killed Disney Canada.
That was yeah.
Now I had a chance to see the original storyboards and the original story concept that they had, that Florida said fuck no, and that they tried to do anyway, and that's kind of why, you know, it got shit canned and recut and just mishmash. It was like a goddamn Frankenstein by the time they were done and released it to video. The original idea was amazing. The sequences of Captain Hook firing at Messerschmitts as he's bringing his ship over London during, you know, like one of the bombing runs of London by the Germans during World War II. It was gorgeous. I mean, they had this whole thing where you got like Spitfires and Messerschmitts flying around the pirate ship, and Captain Hook being, you know, even though he's a pirate, he's still from England, and he orders his crew to open fire on all the German planes to clear the skies. That all got cut. And yeah, and the resulting mishmash that eventually Disney released straight to video was just a travesty. So yeah, so I don't know, when I saw the announcement for Peter Pan and Wendy, I'm like, what are they going to do with this? Like, what time era is it going to be set in, and how far are they going to push it? And then they said, oh,
well, one of the other roles that they actually do have cast is Tiger Lily. So we know for at least a portion of it, we're still going to be in Neverland. That is for sure. And again, Jude Law as Hook, I think that would be kind of like Jude Law now as that Hook, which would be around the same time. He would look like the same time that the original Peter Pan would be. So I mean, the idea is there. Again, we have nothing but a poster. I believe that's all that we have poster. is a poster. So
yeah, there are other animated films that were talked about. Elemental, Elio, a little bit of Strange.
And again, everything is still in early development, and there's nothing really much to
stuff they don't want to talk about. Also, for Disney live action, Mufasa, the Lion King, so like the prequel to the original.
I was going to try and avoid that one, but if you want to bring up that,
again, when you do prequels, there's no way that the lead character is ever going to be in peril, because we know he survives to get to the next
exactly
so like, oh no, he's going to be eaten by the hyena. No, he's not. He makes the next film.
Exactly.
He'll get out of there.
That's why Lion King 1.5 is a fantastic prequel to The Lion King, because it starts off a little before The Lion King and then
jumps
catches up to the movie.
That's why I honestly like Andor. I'm sorry, it might be interesting. It's going to show a nice take on the rebellion as it's getting its legs under it, but the main character, no matter what situation you put him in, is never going to be in any real peril, because you know he gets through it. And that's to me, it's the biggest problem with any prequel, is you know this character is surviving. So you can put all the guns on one side and all the evil beast on the other, and like the noose hanging above his head, and you're like, yeah, he gets out of that. It's just it takes away all the tension. So,
all right. So what do we got? So we're gonna move on to Lucasfilm. Now, if you're a fan of any of the live action Lucasfilm stuff, do yourself a favor and track down these trailers. Because first of all, the one that you should really see, and I'm going to suggest that you see it, is the one for the Disney Plus series of Willow. Now, if you know anything, and again, that's going to be starting this year, November 30th. So the end of the year is going to be hugely populated on friggin' Disney Plus with shows from all over the Disney sphere. This trailer has such an amazing, it has an updated look to it. It has a modern feel to it, but it still has that real world look to it. It doesn't look like anything was shot on, in the room with the giant screen that moves. What is it called again?
The volume.
The volume. Thank you. The volume. It looks like everything is shot out in a field, out in a forest, and all that sort of thing. Sure, there are obviously sets and all that sort of thing, but it still looks fantastic. It has the feel of the original Willow movie, which is kind of cool, but again, has this modern day look to it.
What
kind of looks video game to me. Like, I'm just watching this right now.
Yeah. What I love,
it's a little too bright, a little too crisp, a little too fake. I wish they had a little bit of film grain. Again, we were talking about this earlier with having the palette of the original, but I mean,
what I did like is it's not just Warwick Davis who's returning. They got the actress who played Saoirse coming back. So when I was watching the trailer and suddenly she steps in, I'm like, oh, that's her. So yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
And I did hear something about they are going to be referencing Mad Mardigan in some way, but they haven't stated how. So
yeah, which unfortunately is an unfortunate. I mean, they could do some sort of.
The way back in the 90s, Chris Claremont and George Lucas got together and wrote a series of books that happened after Willow. And like in the first chapter, they tell you that Saoirse and Mad Mardigan are dead, and that Willow has changed his name to something else. And honestly, the books were so hard to read because they were just so fucking terrible. I'm glad they're taking a second stab at it, not letting that book series be the sequel to Willow. So, yeah.
Well, that's a good thing to hear. But again, this looks kind of cool. I mean, it's an adventure game. It's like a campaign series, and again, it's a series, so it's going to be 6 some odd episodes, which is going to be nice because we get to see a full 2 movies out of this sort of idea and all that. Again, we're always hit and miss with the stuff that comes out from Disney Plus, but again, this looks like something cool, and it's great to see Warwick Davies be able to portray Warwick Davies with nothing, no makeup, no masks in front of his covering his face and all that. He gets to act as Warwick Davies sort of thing. So it's nice to see him returning to the role. If that sort of thing was what you grew up with and you enjoyed it, here's hoping that this is going to go along as well.
I just finished watching Light and Magic, and that was one of them, the first morph scenes with like blending all the different animals together and how they went. So it's kind of interesting contrasting that and the effects of what happened at the time to this, where it is like way more advanced, way more crisp. But again, this looks like a video game, but I kind of wish it had a little bit of that more old school vibe to it. Like, just, I don't know, just to kind of put it in the same universe.
So I mean, the original Willow, part of that was Ron Howard basically, it was his chance to stick it to film critics. So like the 2-headed dragon monster, that was the Ebersisk for Siskel and Ebert. And the general was General Kale, named after Pauline Kael from the Washington Post. So I don't think that's going to be as big of a thing for this one.
All right. So next up, we got some animation coming from the Star Wars universe. not only is Bad Batch season 2 going to be premiering in January 4th of 2023. Now, again, not very well received first season, but it was automatically guaranteed a second season just because it's Dave Filoni's baby. And you know what? If Dave Filoni wants to do something Star Wars right now, you know what? We're going to keep him happy because we want to keep Dave Filoni around, sort of thing. I'm looking forward to see what they do with this second season. I mean, but again, first was all right. I mean, yeah, exactly.
Very formulaic.
Exactly. It was extremely formulaic. There was not much to it and all that. But
I didn't
the other
get
one
past the first episode.
Yeah. I do not blame you at all. I mean, again, if you're not into that sort of that realm of their storytelling, you're not going to really enjoy that. But one that does kind of look interesting is in the style of the Star Wars, the Clone Wars style of animation. We have a bit of a sort of a prequel series, which is 6 shorts that are going to be starting on October 26th, 2022, and that's Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, where it looks like we select a couple of Jedi and figure out where they go. From the trailer, they show a young Count Dooku, obviously before he becomes Count Dooku himself, which is kind of neat because not only is at one point it looks like he's training with Mace Windu, in another sequence it looks like he's basically training a young Qui-Gon Jinn, which is kind of neat. We also see some Ahsoka doing some training from when she was first discovered as a baby, as being a force sensitive child, to training with Anakin Skywalker and the 501st, sort of thing. Again, all we saw was quick little blurbs and all that, but again, it's the same animation style as the Clone Wars. So if you're into that sort of thing, this looks like more fantastic little storytelling. And again, it's a bunch of 6 shorts and all that sort of thing. So whatever, whether they're going to do it like Visions and drop them all at one time, or which is probably what they're going to do if they're shorts, because I Am Groot turned out to be fantastic to see. And Aslan and I were watching a couple of the Cars road trip ones that came out today and all that. I think we only got like 3 or 4 in, which are freaking fantastic because
I'm going to have to say, those were a big surprise in just how well written they're done and how good the voice acting is.
What are you talking about? I Am Groot?
No, Cars, the road trip.
The road trip that was released.
Mater has to take a road trip across the country to go to his sister's wedding, and it's all the little stops they do on the way, him and Lightning McQueen. It was great. I was like, this is gonna suck, and I will eat my words because it was fucking great.
Interesting.
Dude, that Lights Out one, that Haunted Mansion one, was by far my favorite. Not only does it have a whole bunch of Haunted Mansion, it has a crap load of Shining references. The Shining references in it. It just I had to try and slowly explain to Aslan the different references and all that. Like, wow, that's a lot of antifreeze. But anyways, back to this Lucasfilm and all that. We also got the full teaser trailer. Previously it had all leaked as like blurry handheld camera footage of the Mandalorian season 3 trailer. So we actually got the full teaser trailer and all that, which shows a lot of sequences from the actual season 3, which has a lot of action of obviously Mando and Grogu, but also shows Bo-Katan dealing with like Mandalorian stuff and all that sort of thing. So there's not much more to it than what we've already seen and all that. But again, it looks like a more action-packed season of that coming out, and that's going to be early 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And then in just a couple of days, actually, technically, in a couple of weeks, is the September 21st release of Andor season 1, which but it's getting 2 seasons. Season 1 takes place 2 years before Rogue One, and then season 1 takes place a year before Rogue One. So we lead it up, but not so that. We're introduced to, we see in the trailer that we have a couple of returning characters, like we got Mon Mothma showing up, we have Sal Guerrero showing up, And they're doing the nice little thing. Hey, guess what? Here's 3 episodes on the first day, sort of thing. So I don't know what other competing streaming services has got something else that's competing with it, but that seems to be the way they're doing it. Like, hey, Netflix has got this coming up. Hey, we've got 3 Star Wars episodes brand new coming out. So yeah. So again, it just shows a lot of really cool locations, a lot of very volume shot sequences, sort of thing. And I enjoyed the Andor character. And again, like Mike said, we know there's like he's got plot armor. He's totally yes. Sorry, Trevor, you were the one that mentioned it. Sorry, and he's totally got plot armor. So we know nothing.
I was just thinking it. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, yeah. So it's going to be everyone around him that's going to be in peril, sort of thing. I do like the fact that they're showing a lot of, because this is like the Empire finally completely taking over. So you have new uniforms, which looks kind of neat. And like you have a lot of characters that you haven't seen before. Like you have a lot more female Imperial characters, which of course, by the time we get to A New Hope, there are no female Imperial characters. But again, that's only because of the time that they had shot it in, sort of thing. So it's nice to see that. But the look looks fantastic. The choice of actors that they have look really good. And I'm looking forward to it because, hey, I enjoyed Rogue One. I like the actor himself, whose name is, why am I blanking on his name right now? But anyways, it looks like it's going to be a fun time and it's like what, a crapload of episodes too. It's not like 10 episodes, it's like 18 episodes or something in the first season, sort of thing. So, but and then the other thing is, I believe Trevor has a little bit of information because he found this out that I did not. And what do you want to say about particular?
There was a trailer shown for the crowds for the 5th installment of Indiana Jones. And in attendance, Harrison Ford revealed that this is his last time playing everyone's favorite archaeologist. And he said, "I'm done. I will not fall down for you again." So this is his last outing as Indiana Jones. And there has been talk about, maybe them continuing on with a different actor, but I hope they don't. I really hope that this is it. Kind of like Han Solo. He's done. He got stabbed in the chest with a lightsaber. He done. We're done with Han Solo. Hopefully this is the last of Indiana Jones. Hopefully this will wash away the stain that they're calling, Indiana Jones for, the whole crystal skull. They're not aliens, they're dimensional beings bullshit. And
was that a real movie?
Nuking
my
fridge.
Brain kind of blocked that.
I know, mine wants to too. Like the whole nuking the fridge bullshit and then swinging through the vines with monkeys and fencing
ants.
Cars.
I remember a horrible part of like a bad dream I had with the ants.
I thought that was like the Scorpion King, but flesh-eating ants. Yeah, just the whole, I know, let's take Sheila LaBeouf and dress him up just like Marlon Brando from it. Just, no, God. Oh, that movie sucked ass just on so many fucking levels. That was just a travesty and a mistake, and people needed to be slapped for that. Anyways,
I'm actually disappointed you reminded me that existed.
Well, you got to be reminded it existed. So to have the good, you have to have the bad to push the good up. And yeah. Now, so Troy's quickly vacated the room, and while he's gone, I'm going to quickly talk about Marvel, the upcoming Marvel stuff. I know he's going to jump back in. So actually, I'm going to jump on the 20th Century Fox stuff because there was a big thing about Avatar: Way of Water, which everyone got treated with a bunch of footage. Yeah. I'm unless something magical and mystical happens, I'm not gonna be like climbing over people to go watch Avatar.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of the first Avatar movie. It's well done.
It's Pocahontas.
It's neat. It's
really
Pocahontas with blue aliens, yeah. And this one, a lot of beautiful ocean scenes. Like you look at the imagery, it's like, yeah, it's stunning, but
they're doing some real good stuff with real flow. So I'm gonna, while Troy is indisposed, I'm gonna quickly talk about some of the live action stuff. So theatrical, we've talked about LucasArts or Lucasfilm, 20th Century Fox, Disney live action. And let's take a quick jog over to the Marvel world. So the crowds were shown new footage of Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania, and they saw a lot of stuff with Kang. So because he's going to be the major big bad, he's actually Kevin Feige said that Kang is the big bad that's carrying us through Phase 5. He's the Thanos of Phase 5. The crowd was also shown stuff of Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, which is like 2 months away from hitting theaters. I'm staying away from trailers, and right now I want to go into it with fresh eyes because I like the first movie that much.
Are you interested in the new one? Because
I
I'm
kind of
not
am.
that interested.
I kind of want to see where they take. I mean, we know that T'Challa's dead. So I was just kind
I
of.
hope they give a reason for that. I hope they can work that
Me too.
into the story in an honorable way that's fitting
Now,
for it. But I'm a little scared that the storytelling is going to be contrived, a little
yeah,
bit
well,
virtue
it's the same
signaling.
director and the same writing staff. So I have,
Well, that's the thing. The director's great. So
yeah.
yeah, hopefully he pulls it off. I hope he does.
Well,
So
also they've got a lot of like part of the environments actually pay tribute to
yeah, T'Challa.
T'Challa's character and all that. It's
So
written that, yeah,
that he's passed away, and when you
yeah,
see them in the white costumes, I believe that's the funeral or the wake or something to them.
Probably, yeah.
yeah.
Other things that were announced were Captain America: New World Order. More information was given. So initially, we were just told Captain America: New World Order, and that was it. We just had a title. We know that Shira Haas has joined the cast, as well as Tim Blake Nelson, who we
Hey, didn't we
know,
just talk about him the other week?
yeah, he might be the leader. So I don't know if he's going to be playing the same character. They have been extremely tight-lipped. All they've said is they've now released a date. It's May 3rd, 2024. So
Yeah.
like almost 2 years, or well, at least a year and a half from now. So they've
Yeah.
got time. Um, the other thing is they announced that the Fantastic Four movie, Matt Shankman's going to be directing. That's going to be coming out November 8th, 2024. So that's like
Mm-hmm.
2 years away, two years and a bit. The big one was Thunderbolts. They released the casting. So we know we've got Florence Pugh as Yelena, Dave Harbour as Red Guardian, Wyatt Russell as U.S. Agent, Sebastian Stan, Winter Soldier. They announced a couple others, but I can't remember which characters.
Okay, so also the characters of Taskmaster, and Ghost from
Yes,
the Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Julie Louise-Dreyfus as
the Countess.
Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. Yeah,
Yeah,
is yeah,
I'm
yeah.
fine with all of them, with the exception of the Taskmaster. Just
I had a strange feeling you would, Trevor.
yeah, I mean,
I'm glad it's not just me. Thank you, Trevor.
it just
No, and again, their portrayal of the Black Widow's version of Taskmaster, again, I totally agree with you guys that yes,
I have the
Trevor.
graphic novel of the Taskmaster. It goes through his origin, goes through many other. I mean, it's a compilation of a variety of issues that he's been in. Gives a great explanation of his story. What the fuck were you doing when you're like, ooh, let's make her the brain damaged daughter of so and so from the explosion? No, fuck off. Character has a rich history. Use it.
Amen to that.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
so
not,
glad I don't have to say these things all the time. Thank you,
it's
Trevor.
it's not the suit. It's not a chip stuck in the head. It's a mutant ability. Deal with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's I think that'd be one of the reasons why I may be like just grumbling a lot during Thunderbolts. So, anyways,
But
uh,
again, with that huge of a cast too, you cannot focus in on one character and all that. It'll either be a team up like point, like because you can't all of a sudden like yes, unlike the Avengers, you can't just throw all these characters into one movie and think they're all going to work together because they're not going to. You still have to
yeah,
develop the fact that these characters are going to be recruited. And like so far, we've only had two of these characters being recruited by DeFontaine. I mean, she's
yeah.
only spoken to two of them. So, and I thought I could have sworn that Bucky Barnes was going to show up in Captain America as
Yeah. And
well,
I thought
but
Kate Bishop would have been a Thunderbolt and not someone.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So,
But
but on that note, we jump over to Marvel television offerings. where they just packed that in with like what 7 different series coming up in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Talking about like
Yeah.
just stuff everything in, and it's just.
Well, Secret Invasion, that was an interesting trailer.
That again, that was one of the ones. That was one of the full ones that they gave us.
It didn't. And the fact that Fury's eye, even he has the scratches, but it looks like his normal eye, like eyes back to normal. So, is he a Skrull? Is that rewatching the Skrull Fury, or did they fix his eye? Or hope they talk about that.
Yeah, well, it looks like he's got that, so it's whitened out, and later on in the trailer, he's got the patch back on.
Yeah,
but it's kind of strange. It doesn't feel like a superhero trailer. When I'm watching it,
which I kind of like, because it looks like it's more spy oriented, or cloak and dagger stuff than superheroes and flashy powers.
Which is okay for Nick Fury. And Secret Invasion, with the whole idea of the Skrulls and shapeshifters and alien invasion type stuff.
Yeah, and you've only got like 6 episodes to pull this off in too. That's the thing.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, it's going to have impact on the rest of the MCU after it, especially if it is the whole entire Skrull invasion that we think it's going to be.
They do plan on there's supposed to be a movie for Secret Invasion or something.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Now some of the other fun things. So we had what's his Don Cheadle shows up in the Secret Invasion trailer.
Yeah.
But he's got his own series of Armor Wars coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't announce a date for that. And at the same time, we've got Ironheart was joining.
Yeah.
Again, no firm date. So that's gonna be interesting. And then we've got Echo, which is coming off of the spin-off of the Hawkeye and
yeah, Echo, yeah.
At the same time, Daredevil Born Again. That one I'm looking forward to a lot.
Again,
did they release a trailer for that? I didn't see that.
No, they haven't.
No,
trailer.
No.
All they've said is that in addition to Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio is coming back as the Kingpin.
Yeah.
So.
And also they're saying that it's going to be a long running season as well. It's going to be like a 12, 16 episode season or 18 episode season. So it's going to be long season.
Yeah.
So,
and they showed I guess at the Disney D23, they showed the cast of Echo, which also has Vincent in that one. So I like the fact that they have characters going to be appearing in multiple series. Kind of tie some of that together, because we're going to have Daredevil showing up in She-Hulk, which is going to tie us into other things. But
apparently he has a yellow costume.
Well, yeah, he has the black and yellow for this one. It's not like he can see the colors he's wearing, so come on.
There was a what the that did that joke, and because Daredevil couldn't see, his designer gave him this like funky like plaid sort of orange and whatever colored outfit and all that, and all he kept saying is every single time he shows up, why is everyone laughing when I show up?
Yeah maybe that's one of the best things. And then the surprise one for me, Werewolf by Night.
Yeah. Yes, I've been looking forward to
left field, and thank God it did.
Yeah, they have been mentioning Werewolf by Night as a and we're going to be giving you Werewolf by Night. That's all that they were giving out. And the fact that if you've not watched this trailer is a fantastic. Apparently, it is shot in black and white. The actual trailer isn't turned black and white. It actually is a black and white. So again, we're going back to my favorite genre, the Universal monster sort of thing. But it has a bit of a grindhouse feel to it and all that. And it just looks like it's a one shot. It's a one-time movie sort of thing that is being released on October 7th of this year. So we get a nice friggin' Marvel Halloween treat this year, and it's Werewolf by Night. So it looks like it's a bottle movie where all these people are trapped inside this castle, and one of them is a werewolf and starts going. So it's like a murder mystery sort of thing. It seems like. But with a grindhouse feel and all that. I love the way this trailer is so beautifully shot. It has a 70s grindhouse feel to it, but with like a universal monsters like look to it. I'm so thrilled that this is going to be like this. And the fact that we see a bit of the werewolf in it, but it's like so fleeting that you can't make out if it's a big guy, if it's a small guy, and all that. I mean, the original Werewolf by Night is a man, but there's no reason that if this isn't going to be connected to anything else in the Marvel universe, it could be anything. It could be whatever, but there is a good chance that it could be connected to a Blade storyline or a Moon Knight storyline or something, because Werewolf by Night has interacted with those. Hell, it's even interacted with a Captain America storyline at one point. But
so this is a little side note. So back in our Sheridan days, one of my roommates, Steve Kassar, was a media arts student. So he was basically learning how to make film. And I had a chance to sit in on one of their media classes, and the teacher was talking about filming black and white, because this was an option that media students were allowed to do in their third year when they made their final film. Was, they could shoot in color, you could shoot whatever. And he talked about the modern challenges of shooting black and white, how to make things, like, you have to be aware of what colors look like in black and white.
Right. Yeah.
So when you dress your character, you could have them in a red shirt and a black tie. Depending on the film stock you use, it's going to come out with a black shirt and a black tie, because that's the way the camera is going to see it in black and white.
For example, the new Renfield movie being shot where it has Nicolas Cage as Dracula. Mm-hmm. There's photos of Nicolas Cage in his Dracula outfit, and it's orange and reds and all that, and it looks gaudy and like really repulsive. But the movie is being shot in black and white, so that is being taken into.
So I remember sitting in that class, and because he had a handful of costumes on, like the mannequins, and he would say, "What about this costume?" People like, no, and then he would show a still that he had shot, and he'd put it up, and you're like, holy fuck, that works. And he's like, this is the real challenge of shooting black and white, is that we can, you can dress the character in whatever colors you want, but you have to be aware of how those colors translate into a black and white medium. And it was such an interesting class that when I saw this trailer, I was like, they really did their homework. Because when you watch the trailer, it all works. So you have a character that kind of pops up from the background, separated enough that they're very easily visible, but at the same time, they still kind of work with that environment.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet the sets and the costumes, you probably walk through like, holy Christ, I'm in Technicolor hell. But when they shoot in black and white, it all works.
That's one thing I've studied a lot, just working with black and white comic books, and of course some of my favorite stuff with manga and Cerebus and all that kind of stuff, with using like the different tonal colors with the whites and dots and blacks and the way all that stuff plays together. And even doing stuff for film and photography, even where if you take a color photo and change it to black and white, because you can see how things pop out based on the light, and with color you get distracted by all that stuff, sort of like what you're saying with the gaudy colors and the fancy orange outfits or whatever out. But when you see it like tonally like that, like remove the color and see how you can make things pop. Like that's a good trick for doing things like film, photography, any sort of graphic design, art, comic books, is put it into that black and white and see, like, does it all blur together as the gray tone, or do you have the whites and the blacks? Do the shadows pop? And that's a really good trick, like for anybody who's doing any sort of art.
Yeah, it's something actually I tell my students to do, is when you've colored in the picture, take it and take away all the color, desaturate all the color to nothing, and see what's merged together. And if stuff is just merging together, that means you've made some wrong color choices, either tonally or saturation wise, that you then, when you bring it back to color, you've got to make some changes. Because you got to remember, not every person sees color the same way. And, there's a variety of different, eye conditions that you see colors in different ways. So certain colors blend together, or certain colors all become a single color. So you need that tonal shift between colors to make things separate. And the first time I remember just after graduating, I was working on a project and the art director had us all do that. And the second you take the picture you're working on and switch it all to gray, you're like, well, holy shit.
Yep.
Oh. And then you put it back to color and you start playing with the colors and shifting back and forth between, black and white and full color. And it really influences your color choices. And then when you get it to work in black and white, you flick it back to color and you're like, well, holy shit, that is a world. Because especially when you compare it to your first try and you're like, worlds of difference and it looks so much better.
Yeah. It's interesting you two talking about how people perceive colors different. I've worked with a whole bunch of guys who are colorblind, and it's amazing because some of them are these incredible artists. One dude I worked with, he did a Santa Claus and it was green, and people laughed like, "Why did you do it green?" I said, "What do you mean? Like it's a green Santa
Yeah,
Claus?"
of course.
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
But because you
Oh.
don't see the color, and it's like same color.
I
But
will
he
admit,
was such a good artist, he knew where to pick from the map.
working on Caillou at one point, I was accused of being colorblind because there was a character like Caillou's best friend. We were just like, "What color's the snowsuit going to be? What's that? Brown and yellow? Absolutely." Yeah, we were just hammer. I mean, we even got a note at one point from the director of, "Please stop making it look like this character's mom shops at the Salvation Army."
Oh, ouch.
Because it was just like, sure, purple and brown go together. Yeah, yeah, we were just
That's a
like,
great note.
yeah, because we were just like, we hated this character because he was in almost every other episode, and it was just like this character is just use. I mean, as useless and whining as Caillou is, his best friend was worse. So we would just dress him in the worst possible color combinations. We got accused of making him look like a bumblebee at one point. So yeah, yeah, it's all about the color choices, folks.
And that about wraps up the D23 for, well, what we have of information of D23 for at least the Friday and the Saturday of D23.
Until tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever else they're going to throw at us tomorrow. So, yeah.
I like how R5D4 is in the Mandalorian ship. That's interesting.
Yeah. Still doesn't work.
And whatever Babu Freck.
Yeah, there you go. So other shows that I've been watching this week, I finally got to the season finale of What We Do in the Shadows, season 4. Now, this whole season, for anyone who may not have watched it or even who have watched it, this whole season has been about the characters going on life-changing arcs. Like the old like Eastern European guy, he decided he needed to get married. He needed to have someone in his life. Like, because we ended the last season, he was going out on a journey to discover himself, and he comes back and the house is trash because 3 of the 4 vampires have left or died, and you know he needs to find himself. He comes back and says, I need a wife, and not just any wife. He needs one of his original wives. They got 38 wives or consorts. So with the help of a Jin, he makes a bunch of wishes and gets his wife back. But by the end of the season, he just lets her go. So it's kind of like watching a Simpsons episode where all this crazy shit happens in the middle, and by the end, everything's back to normal. That's what this kind of like the season felt like. The whole season started crazy and ramped up with the crazier shit as they kept going up and going up. And they used the last couple of episodes to kind of like, well, wait a second, let's bring things back to the way they were so we can start into season 5, which they've already gotten the money for and already got the approval for. But a couple of really big changes, like the poor servant they have, Guillermo, who has been wanting to be a vampire for the last 11 plus years of service, and they have just shat upon him every step. I mean, they still call him Gizmo, because they haven't bothered even to learn his name. I'm going to give this away as a spoiler. So he's been embezzling money from Nadia's nightclub that failed. She tried to burn it down, but the blood sprinklers put everything out except for her office, where there was no blood sprinklers, and it burned up all the money she had. Anyway, Guillermo had embezzled some money, and they're basically saying, yeah, we can't turn you into a vampire. Everything's kind of getting back to normal. They're still shitting on him. So he goes to a friend of his who had been turned into a vampire, who's working at a convenience store because They don't give you money to be a vampire, so he has to work night shift at a convenience store. He shows up, puts down a satchel, opens up full of money. He's like, "Wow, you're giving me all this money?" He's like, "Yeah, but you got to turn me into a vampire first." And that's how the season ends. So the next
Oh,
season,
really? Oh, okay.
Guillermo just might be a vampire. Now this is the question. So Guillermo, for people to know, he is from the bloodline of Van Helsing's.
Mm-hmm.
He is a quintessential vampire hunter. His whole family is. At one point, he has a family reunion at the house, and all of them are like, "Why are you living with vampires?" Because we can feel it in our bodies. We know they're vampires. Anyways, I have a couple of theories. A, his friend's going to go to try to bite him, and the Van Helsing instincts are going to kick in, and he's going to end up killing his friend accidentally before he gets turned into a vampire. B, as someone with the Van Helsing bloodline, as a vampire, he's going to be either a super vampire or the weakest damn vampire ever because his bloodlines are going to be fighting against the vampirism back and forth. So he's either going to have killed the guy and not be a vampire, or he's going to be a super weak vampire, or he's going to be like an uber vampire.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Either that or the fact that he can't be turned into a vampire because of his Van Helsing blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
guy bites and it's like nothing happens. Or the guy goes to bite him and he just without
But yeah, I
even
like your
reacting,
I didn't think
him.
of I didn't think of that. Him
I didn't want to do
that.
that. So,
Yeah.
So
That actually, you know what? I could totally see him doing that. Because I'm catching up. I didn't realize until like a little while ago that Disney Plus had friggin' all the first 3 seasons. So I'm like, yes, all right. I never really got to see when it was originally on. So I'm near the end of third season, I think. But yeah, no, I love the series and the fact that it is so true to the original thing, but something completely
and they're in
different.
Staten Island of all places.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah.
My wife and I have been loving this show, and then so this past September 6th was the last episode, and we caught it, and I was just like, "There's so many ways for this to go in the next season."
Yeah,
and the fact that before the season started, when they got renewed for this season, they were also renewed for the next season as well.
Yeah,
that shows you how good of a show it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
So and the other show that I've been watching. It's this little show about a TV star and a movie star. You might know Rob McElhenney, Ryan Reynolds. Welcome to Wrexham, where they bought a soccer club in Wrexham, Wales. And this is the documentary showing all the stuff that's going on. And it is really interesting.
Oh, is it now? That's good.
They spend more time with the citizens of Wrexham and their take on having a movie star and TV star taking over, and the restructuring they're having to do with the club, and the fact that the tiers of the various soccer leagues in the UK, and the fact that they're one tier below like official sponsorship, but if they can have a good enough season, they can get back up into one of those 4 tiers and starting getting like league money, and the fact that Wrexham has the oldest soccer field in use, like the oldest one ever. And they have to refurbish it. Like one point they're like, we have to redo the pitch, which is like the grass, for £300,000, which they show that, and then they plop up, that's about $370,000 US.
Yeah.
They have to like fire the coach and get a new coach. They have to they fired a slew of team members and have to recruit new ones. And it's a very interesting show to watch. And again, one episode a week. So they're like basically putting that fish hook in and dragging you along a little bit each time. So it's a fun show so far. As my wife and I have been having a great time watching. I think they're 6 episodes in, because they're doing like 2 episodes each week. So they'll do like 5 and 6 and then 7 and 8. But they're slated to go all the way up to the start of October. If you have a chance to watch the show, watch it. It's really interesting.
Yes, have some.
Yes, have some.
All right, so I want to bring up something that has been out there for a little while and all that. And this past Thursday of September 2022, Disney Disney Plus Day released a bunch of stuff onto their servers, including the previously mentioned like Cars Road Trip and whatnot. Pinocchio, which is actually we
That was direct to
unfortunately
Disney Plus.
ran. Yep,
Not
direct to Disney
theatrical?
Plus.
Yeah,
Oh,
and-
Nope,
interesting.
not
And the
theatrical.
Pinocchio looks like Pinocchio, not some
Pinocchio. Yeah,
wood-grained horrific.
this is the Tom
Childish.
Hanks as Geppetto version, which unfortunately I was just timing alone was only able to watch the beginning because we started the day off watching a little bit of Bluey, and then we watched a couple of the Cars things, and then we started watching a bit
You
of the
mentioned
Pinocchio.
Blue.
Go
I just
ahead.
want to quickly interject. So, I've talked about the various trolls that chirp about various things. Some asshole. I'm not going to say his name because I'm not going to give him any goddamn legitimacy.
Was it me?
No,
Mike.
he's talking about how he was watching Bluey
Oh no.
and finally realized that both Bluey and Bingo are girls, and went on this giant fucking rant about how it's feminizing cartoons that the characters are now girls. It's like, buddy, they've always been girls.
They've always been girls. Yeah.
They've always been girls. It's two daughters. And
Yeah.
and I look at the end of the day, did you enjoy the show? Did you learn a message? Then shut the fuck up. Bluey is a great show. My kids watch it all the time. They
I
have
don't
no
even know what
problem-
that is, so it definitely wasn't me.
Yeah, they have no. It's done in Australia. They have no problems with the fact that Bluey and Bingo are girls.
Yeah.
It's not even an issue. But this
It's not.
asshole is all up in arms that the main lead character, who's the show's named after, and her sister are
Are these
girls.
dogs?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, they're dogs.
like-
Yeah, yeah.
they're
yeah, yeah.
dingoes. And it's just I could like everyone was like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I
Do you
want to
not
know
know
who
that
you're
women
hanging out with
exist?
online, Trevor.
It was just,
You're hanging out with a bunch of weirdos, man.
but it was just like, do you not understand that women don't just pop out, fully grown? They actually go through a stage of childhood, and they exist. It's
Is this a public service announcement?
no, it's just
Oh,
well, you can
just
yeah,
a philosophical
public service
rant
announcement.
about the evolutionary.
Hold on.
nature
Public
of
service
humans.
announcement for all the internet trolls out there who have a hard time with women or girls being in the lead role. Please pull your head out of your fucking ass. You're an idiot. If you really want to do the world a service, go sterilize yourself before that stupidity gets bred to the next generation. Fuck off.
Wow. Harsh words.
Yeah,
while we're
that was
talking
pretty
about Bluey.
intense. Wow.
Yeah. I just
I didn't know Bluey would get Trevor so ramped up.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow.
That's why you got to watch out
But-
with Trevor. He looks like
Yeah.
a sweet, cuddly guy, and then
Yeah, but,
next thing
you-
Bluey dogs get some all
you
crazy.
piss me off, and if I meet you in person, I'm going to break your arm and punch you in the throat. It's as simple as
And
that.
that's not a false threat, people. He literally does that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, what kind of fucking neckbeard gets pissed off that cartoon characters are female? Like, what the fuck?
Technically, it's a drawing.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
also the fact that the character, the main character is 6, so whether she's a boy or a girl really doesn't play into any of the storylines. I mean,
Okay,
there
so
is
I'm-
no.
I know
Go on.
nothing about Bluey, so I'm just
Okay.
looking at pictures. I see 2 blue dogs
So
and 2
basically,
brown dogs.
yes. So yeah, exactly.
So what are we talking
The-
about?
Okay, the big blue dog is the dad. The small
Okay.
blue dog is Bluey. The
Is that the
small
girl dog?
orange.
the big brown
Yes.
dog is the mom.
Yes.
The small brown dog is Bingo. The 2 smaller
sister.
ones are sisters. They're girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 But this
So they're saying that families don't normally have 2 daughters?
Sounds
Is
like
that
it.
what-
Apparently.
well, this guy's problem was the fact that the show named Bluey. He felt that Bluey should be a boy because the show's named after that character.
The type
Okay.
of dogs that they are blue healers. They're Australian blue healers,
Yeah.
which is the breed of dog that they are. This is okay, Mike, just to give you a bit of information. This is a world where there are not humans, there are animal what is it?
Anonymity.
Dogs.
Anemones and
Yes,
anemones
anemones. Yes,
Yes.
where they're dogs. They're not humans, they're dogs. All the other animals are animals. There's pet cats, there's pet goats, there's birds, there's everything else and all that.
Okay, but the dogs are the
there's no
humanoid
humans. Yes,
anthropomorphic
exactly. Yes,
creatures. Okay.
exactly. So, but everything else is exactly the same. And a lot of the cool things about it is because it's in Australia, there are a lot of actually real life Australian environments used in the show where you
Live
can actually
action,
find
or
people.
is it all
No,
cartoon?
no. It's
Okay.
all cartoon, but people have actually hunted down and found the angles that the animators have used for the particular things and done them
Okay.
side by side comparisons of the different environments and all that sort of thing. So it's really kind of neat. It's they're like 8-minute shorts. They all have messages in all of them because it's all about teaching kids how to be like proper human beings is basically what it is. And it is a show that is written for little kids, but it's also got a lot of humor for the adults as well, because they know, like, you smartly write for kids animation, you want the parents to enjoy it as well. And you know what?
Yes. That's a
These,
good message for anybody making kids cartoons. Because
yeah,
when the parents want to murder the TV when the children are watching something, that's
exactly.
bad.
Oh
But
yeah,
when the parents get a chuckle and go, yeah, that's pretty good.
yeah.
That's what
But
you want.
I mean,
you're
I'll
not
watch the
talking a
show in the
chuckle.
morning with my kids. It is
Yeah.
hilarious.
It is, yeah. It's not and it's not like chuckles. It is straight out hilarity.
Like to get the kid to eat his eat her broccoli. The mom's like, "Well, if you wave this broccoli, you can turn people into other animals." So she's like turning the dad into a walrus and her sister into a parrot and her mom into this and it is so funny, especially the way that, like, the dad's acting like a walrus, and then at one point the parrot sister eats the asparagus and she's like freaking out. She's like, "Say doggy," so everyone turns back to doggy. And she's like, "Polly, wanna dinosaur?" And they all start acting like dinosaurs. Like, no! I mean, my kids were laughing. I was laughing. It was hilarious. But it kills me when, as again, some fucking neckbeard just can't handle the idea that a female can be the
You
lead.
just don't like men with hair on their neck, Trevor. Now, I've never seen this show before, and I'm just looking at the picture now. I will say, just looking at it, I could see why people would think the one is a male dog, because if the father's blue, they often do that with the color coding with characters, right? You got the father that's blue, and then the son's blue, and then you got the mother who's brown, so the daughter's brown.
But
I can see why people are confused. Maybe it's just an angry kid that
the thing is they reference all the time. They're like, girls get ready for school, or girls, let's go do this.
Yeah.
It's not like they're making it a big fucking secret.
Yeah, and you see this in families all the time. Like even with my daughters, where one daughter had the blonde hair, one daughter had the dark hair. You got it from like different people in the family, and like that's the way it is. So,
all right,
whatever.
Now,
anyways, I can't believe we're having a giant Bluey discussion at midnight.
Now I'm going to do a quick little sidestep too, because Troy mentioned that Disney Plus for Disney Day released Pinocchio. Yeah. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys.
Okay.
Are you going to talk about the cuckoo clocks?
No.
Okay.
So this is,
what are you going to do?
This is the Pinocchio version that is released in Disney Plus to the left, and this was the travesty that they showed from Netflix. Which one looks like Pinocchio? At least the Pinocchio of our childhood. And which one looks like a fucking nightmare fuel?
For sure.
I am Groot on the right.
Yeah, I am never showing my kids the one on the right, because the wood grain Pinocchio looks like, as I said, nightmare fuel. My kids will wake up at 3 a.m. screaming. So when I get a chance later this week, I'm going to show them the other one, because then I can show them the cartoon, and it won't be like, "Daddy, where's the wood grain monster?" Because what the fuck? So, and it took them this long to do it. But again, still not a fan of live action animated movies.
Trevor is dropping more F-bombs than Gavin.
Well, I got to fill up the gap. Gavin's not here to take it up, and I have a list. And every time I hit an F-bomb, I got to check it off. And I'll tell you right now, I am way behind. If Gavin was here, this list would be like 3 times as long. So
yeah. The Gavin factor.
Exactly,
really brought
the Gavin
down our
factor.
F-bombs. Yeah. So back to Pinocchio quickly for myself. Didn't get through much of it just because of a timing thing, and stuff was going on early in the day and wasn't able to watch it. From what I've seen of the opening, like, 15, maybe some odd minutes of it. There is a bit of Cleo is there, the goldfish is there, Figaro is there, Jiminy Cricket is there. Obviously, all three characters are obviously computer generated. Why they have, I mean, but it is nice because it's a 3D version of these 2D characters. Like Cleo looks fantastic. She looks like the cartoon, the 2D cartoon fish swimming around in her little fishbowl, which is kind of neat because she has like the little eyelashes and all that, like the character does and all that. And Figaro looks like a computer generated cat that has that sort of not quite realistic but still cartoony look to it and all that. And well, Jiminy Cricket is Jiminy Cricket because he looks more like a cricket than the original thing. But one of the cool things is in the opening part of the movie, Geppetto, who is a clockmaker and a toy maker and all that sort of thing, has all the cuckoo clocks on this one wall that a la Doc Brown all go off at the same time, which is kind of neat because he looks at his stopwatch to realize the time about to go off. And of course, all the cuckoo clocks have all these characters, and they have a plethora of Disney characters in this thing.
I love plethoras.
I do
the
too.
First one, what is a plethora? One of the first ones that they actually show is saloon doors open up and a Woody and Bullseye hop out and come back in. One of the other ones is it's Pride Rock, and Zazu is sitting on the top of Pride Rock, and out slides Rafiki, and then at the last second holds up little Simba. There's a Jessica Rabbit holding up a Roger, and they kiss on the cuckoo and all that sort of thing. There's a Donald Duck one and all that. So it's kind of neat. And me and Aslan spent like 2 or 3 minutes pausing like the Disney Plus and like, okay, who's in this shot? Who can we make out in this shot sort of thing? So it's kind of neat sort of thing, awesome. All that. And unfortunately, we weren't able to go much further because unfortunately the rest of the day had to go out and everyone had to leave. So we weren't able to watch more. But so I'm looking forward to finishing off that because
I kind of want to see Monstro. I really do. Because Monstro in the original Pinocchio as a kid scared the hell out of me. So I kind of want to see how they treat Monstro.
Thing. Yeah.
So yeah.
And the Fox character, I can't remember what the character's name is. From what I've seen in the trailer, looks really cool. I mean, the again, it's more of a toony computer generated thing because it's already set up that the computer characters are not going to be like hyper realistic, because if it was, that goldfish would look like a goldfish. It wouldn't look like Cleo. It would look like a goldfish sort of thing. So yeah. But that was kind of neat. But the thing that I was going to get into is I saw Thor: Love and Thunder. I'm going to tell you that it was
Chris Hemsworth's butt was fantastic. Oh, what?
I'm not gonna deny it was that was a fan. I love the fact that it obviously is not blurred like it was in the trailer sort of thing. And like, dude, the amount of work you have to put into that one day of that shot to have all that muscle, like, you know how much you'd have to starve yourself on like dehydrated just to get every single thing bumping and all that sort of thing. It's just like, oh my God, that looks like it would be painful for you to be in that situation sort of thing. But anyways, Russell Crowe is fantastic as Zeus. It's hilarious. I really enjoyed Christian Bale's character, but again, he really wasn't the God Butcher that I knew sort of thing from the comics sort of thing. It was sort of a version of that seemed a little weaker than he is. But again, the God Butcher is not something you introduce in one movie and then finish him off in another one.
It's interesting. A buddy of mine did. I might have mentioned this in a different podcast, but a buddy of mine did a bunch of storyboards on that, and they didn't have the movie design yet, so they did the storyboards with the actual comic book version.
Okay,
and the comic book version, it looks so good in the storyboards, and then you compare that to the film. It's like, I don't know why they didn't keep it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's usually because the lead actors like that, they want you to see their face.
Yeah, exactly. It is kind of neat though, because at points, like at the very beginning of it, you don't like going into it, you know it's Christian Bale, but it doesn't look like Christian Bale. It's not until he starts to emote the crazy Christian Bale, because at one point, Gore, right? Gore the God Butcher. Yeah, it goes a little bit insane and all that sort of thing.
I still say he was justified.
No, then totally. I mean, it. He just the movie he comes upon it too easily. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't go on the quest to do this. He has the opportunity fall in his lap, sort of thing, and then he decides, okay, now I'm going to go kill the gods. It's not like he searched out to kill the gods. He happened to come across the necro sword and decided, oh well, I know what this does. Let's start killing gods and all that.
Okay, question for you, Troy. Which one's better, Ragnarok or Love and Thunder?
Oh, Ragnarok. Okay. Definitely by far. This was a fun movie, but it wasn't that great because it didn't have the feel. It felt like a quarantine filmed movie. It felt like there was restrictions. It didn't seem like there was a lot of people in one place at the exact same time. A lot of like two shots of people that were standing paces apart from each other. There was a lot of, hey, let's stop this movie to tell a little bit of a backstory and then get back to the movie, sort of thing. Which is understandable. Jane shows up and then as the mighty Thor, and then you go, oh, this is how she became the mighty Thor and whatnot. But it definitely felt like there was a lot of loose screening filming of this thing. There's very small little sets. The whole entire, I will admit that seeing eternity in this movie was shocking because it looked exactly as eternity does in the comics.
Well, that's cool. Always liked
Eternity is the big void character, and you can see space within her, right? They do it beautifully in this, and it's this cutout from whatever sequence she's in, but it's the universe inside of her that rotates as the camera pans around her, sort of thing, and it looks fantastic. She doesn't do anything, she doesn't say anything, she doesn't move, she just sits there in this sequence and they react around her and all that, and it's just fantastic, and that is a very cool thing to see. It's
Eternity is a male in the comic book.
I thought it was a woman. I thought
Eternity has no gender.
Oh, Eternity does. I always assumed
according to the database, Eternity. Well, yes, an abstract entity, but his sister counterpart is Infinity. So apparently, it's Eternity and Infinity.
Okay.
Because I just remember a long time ago reading a comic where they were discussing Eternity, and someone said he and the character turns it in Eternity has no gender. You can't subscribe.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah. They, I guess we refer to them as they.
Yeah.
But it was kind of neat to see the Guardians of the Galaxy at the beginning and how they just separated and they were basically tired of Thor showing up and all that sort of thing. But even their sequence still felt like, okay, let's shoot Dave Bautista in this sequence and all that, and let's shoot Chris Pratt in this sequence, and then have two of them in a scene together, and that's it, sort of thing. And it just seemed a little. It didn't feel like a complete movie.
I think that movies coming out, in the last year and the next year or so, we're going to see a lot of that. Definite looking like they had to do COVID spacing with things, just to try to shoot some films. What I did like about this film was a lot of the little Easter eggs. Like they're coming up to Eternity's chamber, and there's the head of the living tribunal, and
yes, that was about to say, yeah. But, there was a lot of lore put into this movie too. I mean, obviously Taika Waititi did his research to do a lot of the groundwork to make this feel like, I mean, I like Taika Waititi. I don't think this was that great of an accomplishment of a Marvel movie, especially coming off of Thor Ragnarok. Now you can always put it up to, hey, it's the sequel. It's not going to be as good as the first one because this is his second attempt at it. I guess because because I preferred Guardians of the Galaxy over Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, just because I think they tried to put too much into Guardians of the Galaxy 2 that it sort of fell to the wayside, like the story and all that. And that's what happens in this.
And there's a plot
I'm not-
point thing in Guardians 2 where it's a long lead up before anything happens.
Yes.
And
Exactly,
again,
yeah,
because it's
yeah.
the mystery, it's like you don't know where it's going, but because you don't know where it's going, it's not until halfway through
Mhm.
the movie, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
this is what the story is, because we've just been sitting
Yeah.
around. So is this the kind of same thing?
It is that sort of thing. It takes a long time to get into it. The whole entire trailer with the training montage is the very beginning of the movie. Like that whole entire, it doesn't take him a while to get into it. No, he's instantly fit by the movie, actually, and he's all of a sudden zen sort of thing. But yeah, I don't know why they brought back Sif. I mean, I like Lady Sif. I like Jamie Alexander. I'm gonna say her name is because I'm pretty sure that's right. But to have her come back just as the reason for Thor to separate from the Guardians, to go on his own path, to have her not written out of the story, but anyways, it's just like, I mean, some of the effects are kind of cool, but again, we had a lot of computer generated characters fighting computer generated characters. It didn't look like there wasn't a lot of wire work involved because, again, with COVID, you might as well, hey, if we could do these digitally, let's do them digitally so we don't have to hire a huge giant stunt crew, which also takes away from the feel of realism of the whole entire thing. I mean, if you don't have physical characters doing this stuff, even if it's a guy in a wig that's supposed to be Thor, it's not that impressive if it's a computer generated Thor. And I also found, while I really enjoyed seeing the mighty Thor, there was a lot of sequences where it was very distracting because mighty Thor is taller than Jane. Okay, so when Natalie Portman's walking around, when she's standing around, it's okay. When she has to walk around, she is on, I'm sure, our platform shoes, and you can see in some shots where she's a little off kilter with her steps because she's got to take big steps, right? Because she's got a bigger character. But Natalie Portman's not that big, so she's got shorter legs that has to do. So sometimes it's a little distracting. But again, it's part of the thing. You aren't going to pay a ton of money to digitally replace Natalie Portman. You're not going to make a bulking. You're not going to She-Hulk Natalie Portman. So you just throw her in a. I mean, she looked fantastic, and they might have done some digital altering to her, but again, it was. I don't regret seeing the movie, but it just wasn't as. I'm pretty sure I probably would have enjoyed the movie a lot more if I saw this in a theater with a packed audience, or even just enough people around that like everyone was enjoying. Like, because there was funny parts, there was like very humorous points. Because again, it's a Taika Waititi, and the way Chris Hemsworth is portraying the character and all that, you can see that it is funny. And like I said, the whole entire Zeus sequence was very entertaining, and I can't wait to see spoiler alert, more of friggin' Zeus coming around there, and Hercules, which was a fantastic costume.
I loved Omnipotent City. I mean,
yeah,
like when you go in the Colosseum, you have all the different pantheons of gods, the two celestials looking in.
Yeah,
it was a nice.
The celestials at the end was fantastic. Yeah, but again, that also looked very disjointed. That little guy with just the head and the two hands sort of thing looked so chintzy sort of thing, but it looked like more of a practical effect, which was, I'll give him points for that. But it's still just like, I don't know. And yeah, and having you get rid of Korg and just make him a face because you don't want to do the digital effect for that long is like, no, I'm sorry. It's just, but anyways, I'm like I said, I don't regret seeing the movie, but it just wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be. And unfortunately, yeah. So
one movie I didn't see this week was Weird.
Yeah. Oh, it's so,
but it's scoring 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, it is. Well, because that's mostly critics too, which is kind of neat.
So. Right now it's all critics, but yeah, 100%. Damn, I have to see this movie somehow.
For those for those who didn't listen in last week or don't know that TIFF, which is the Toronto International Film Festival, this week had the world premiere of Weird, which is the Daniel Radcliffe Weird Al Yankovic biopic. And they showed it at the midnight showing, and we were talking about trying to go see it. Well, we found out afterwards that it was going to cost us about $56 a ticket to go see this movie. And by the time we had actually decided we were going to do it, the tickets were already sold out.
They were
there's
gone.
No way.
Yeah.
They were already gone. There are a couple more showings over the next week of it and all that, but those tickets are also pretty scarce to come by. And again, they're not your normal ticket. They're your festival tickets and all that. And they're more premium and harder to get your hands on because it's a big thing. I didn't do any research to find out if either Daniel Radcliffe or Weird Al were in town, but if they were going to be there, they were more than likely there, sort of thing. But
another fun fact though is my kids were watching the prequel to this, where Weird Al was the little wizard. Yeah, they were watching that.
You mean on Wally Kazan?
Yes.
Awesome. Because he rhymes so well.
But unfortunately, it looks like right now we're going to have to unfortunately also wait until November to be able to see this movie, which is kind of sucks. It would have been really cool to have been able to get in there to see it. But again, I'm sure if I had figured it out earlier, because I had no idea it was playing at TIFF until Trevor mentioned it last week, and it's like, wait, Thursday? Do you want to go Thursday? Like, I just unfortunately there was no way I was going to be able to get downtown Toronto and all that sort of thing on the Thursday night to try and see the red carpet or something like that. Because that would have been just good enough to go see the red carpet. That would have been kind of cool. But yeah. But again, we're going to have to wait until the day that it comes out on Roku and in November, unfortunately. So what else do you got there, Mike? You got another thing to talk about?
The last thing I was going to mention was Alone. Like, me and Trevor have been talking about this forever. I'm into the $1 million season in the Arctic, but the only thing I wanted to bring up with this is the thing Trevor keeps mentioning is the show don't tell. And this episode, it does 40 minutes of in the wilderness, everybody filming their own stuff. And then they do 20 minutes where it's almost like a podcast, and they just talk about things that they did. So it's all the original contestants and whoever the showrunner guy is, and it's so boring as hell. I have not been able to watch any of that. It would be like if you go to a movie, you sit through the movie, and then at the end credits, just a bunch of heads pop up on screen to talk about it. It would be like sort of like this, what we're doing now in the end credits. It's like, it's fine to have this discussion, but like, this is its own entity. This podcast is its own entity. But to tack it on at the end of the show, no, like, watch the movie, watch the show, get your own experience from it, and then listen to the podcast after. Listen to people commentate on it after. And
so
I
what
just
is this
thought
again?
What
is this you were watching again? Sorry.
Alone. So
this is still
show.
Alone. So there's another version of Alone that has the talking heads sort of thing.
Yeah. So the $1 million season.
Oh, it's the season itself. Oh.
Yeah. So every episode has this like 20-minute end sequence where like, now we're going to talk to everybody. It's like, wait, aren't they still in the wilderness? Wait, I don't want to know what happened. Like, let me enjoy the experience. And then if I'm interested, I'll go back and watch all that.
Well, usually at the end of the season, they'll have like a recap episode, and they talk to the people now that they're back home and shit like that. Don't do it like at the end of every episode. That's a waste.
Yeah, it's crazy. And again, like, show don't tell. Like, I want to see the experience. Like, I don't want to listen to you just talking about the experience. Or if I do, again, it's like,
then I got a fish hook in my hand.
That's a podcast later.
I can't show you, but I had a fish hook in my hand.
Right. So, anyways, that was just a thought that came to me while watching this season that I thought I'd mention.
All right, so I know what to fast forward through.
Yes.
I'll just be like, and they're going to start talking next episode.
Yeah, basically my entire family cringes like, oh, no. It's like, okay, everyone else feels the same way. Great. Skip.
Yeah, skip next episode. Let's go.
Well, that should make it easier to get through the episodes then, shouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
You'd be able to get
it's like 1 hour episode? No, it's only 40 minutes. Good. Okay. We got it.
It's just like it was on broadcast TV. You got 22 minutes of commercials.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I guess it's too late to do top 10 without Gavin, eh?
Yeah. I think we're going to need to wait for that skinny guy. So hopefully next week, episode 53 will be the end of our top 10 list. And then we'll move on to the next list. What's the next list? Who's the next list? Where's the next list?
Why is the next list?
Why is Gamora?
Yes.
I'll do you one better. All right.
Don't worry, Quill. I can take it. No, you can't.
All right. So I think that's going to wrap this up. This is the wrap up of episode 52. Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah. Not
Sorry for dropping so many F-bombs. But
yeah,
Gavin's got to do it. If Gavin's not going to show up, someone's got to.
Someone's got to do it. And these two little saints would never, say the.
Yeah, you fucking asshole, Trevor. What the hell they have?
See? You had to they wouldn't say shit if their mouth was full of it.
No, exactly.
So.
Well, because I wouldn't want to spit it all over the place, man. That's just rude.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
All right. So the count of 3, we're going to do a collective goodbye.
All right. We'll try.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Collective
goodbye. It's too bad that doesn't show up on a multi-screen anymore. We got to figure out the setting on that. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that setting is. It's got to be around here somewhere.
Alrighty then. Yeah. All right. Good night, folks. Thanks for tuning in.
All right. Catch you later.
Cobra Kai never dies.
This has been Geeking Off The Page, a Planet Geek production. Please be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review. You can find us at our social medias through Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Search for Planet Geek Productions. On Instagram and Twitter, Planet Geek Pod. Or you can send us an email at planetgeekpod@gmail.com. So until next bad time, same spider channel, may the force be with you, and thanks for tuning in.